We're talking with the one and only Jackie Martling. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi.
So who is the real Jackie Martling?
You're talking to him. What do you mean? There is no real. I am what I am. That's what Popeye the Sailor Man said, right? No, there's no two. I'm not one of these secretive type guys or one of these quietly depressed guys. I'm just like a kid who was a loudmouth and who never grew up, and I still tell dirty jokes, and I played music for a while and wasn't very successful at it. So I started telling dirty jokes on stage. I'm as much you are what you get, or what I would love to say there's more intrigue to me than there is, but there ain't.
Well, you just mentioned kid.
Of course there's a serial killer, but I don't talk about that because obviously I don't want to get caught.
Well, what was life like for a young Jackie?
I was very short, so I walked very, very fast, and to this day I've almost lost girlfriends because I walk too fast and I don't know how to slow down. And I'm sure that's why I was a joke teller and a ball breaker, because I was a little kid. Like, I grew like 6 inches between 7th and 8th grade. I was really little. And, it's funny, people used to interview me and ask me if I was the class clown. And I say, no, because I thought that was some kind of a great honor. And I didn't want to claim it for myself. And then one day I realized I was given the finger in my 8th grade class picture, which is the cover of my first comedy album. And I said, you know what? If I wasn't the class clown, who was? So... I was fun. That's all. I was fun. I played in a band. I played on the soccer team. I was a pole vaulter. I worked as a head busboy at a country club. Had lots of girlfriends. Didn't get any sex. It was a great time. I grew up in the mid-'60s. I graduated from high school in '66, so I didn't even smoke a joint until I was a sophomore in college. It was a different era. It was great fun. Great fun.
Well, a second ago you mentioned a band. A lot of people may not realize you started out in showbiz with music.
Well, I started playing guitar because I wanted to meet girls. You're already meeting girls, and you figure if you play the guitar, you're going to meet more. So a guy taught me guitar, and two of us played together in high school. Then I went to college at Michigan State and played in a band for 7 years. And then I realized how bad we were, and then I came home, and me and that guy from high school got together again and played for the entire 70s. In a 2-man group, which became a 3-man group called the Off-Hour Rockers. We played a lot of songs and tried to sell songs, and we never got anywhere. And at the end of the decade, we broke up, but it was great fun. We got laid and we played music and we drank. What's better than that? Why grow up? There was no reason to grow up,
Well, how did you know it was going to be comedy and not music? What point was that?
Well, you know what? When you're in a band, it's like having a bunch of wives. And we were so unsuccessful that it bred a lot of malcontent, and it's funny because we're in a 3-piece band, and at the end of one of our gigs, the other 2 guys came up to me and said, Jackie, we're going to leave the band and start our own band. And I said, listen, I'm not a rocket scientist, but if there's 3 guys in the band and 2 of them leave to start their own band, that's kicking me out of the band. I don't care how you couch it. And then I started playing guitar by myself and telling jokes on stage by myself, which I kind of had been doing anyway. And then I met a bunch of comedians from Long Island, and there were really no comedy clubs or anything like that at that point. So I hooked up with them, and I started playing my guitar and telling jokes and promoting shows. And we kind of started comedy on Long Island and the East Coast. We helped jumpstart the whole, comedy thing, and I started telling jokes, and then after a couple of months, I realized I knew how to make an album, so I made an album full of jokes, and then I made another one, and after I had 3 albums full of jokes, I found out about Howard Stern and sent my albums to him, and he liked them, and he called me up, and I got a job with him, and I went to the moon. It was very serendipitous the way the whole thing happened,
Can you remember recording the first joke LP?
What do you mean? Of course, like it was yesterday. It was upstairs at a bar called Cinnamon in Huntington on Long Island, and it was owned by Jerry Cooney, the boxer, his brother Michael, and Roger Pinto. And we jumped up on the mic and told some jokes, and everybody liked it, so then we started producing shows there. I had a Fender amplifier and my guitar and a microphone and speakers, and I said, this is going so good. I told my girlfriend, I said, you know what? They laughed at every joke I told last night. I should make a record. She said, so make a record. So I made a record. I hung some microphones and made a record. It was that simple. It was great. So half those jokes are still in my act.
And what made you want to send the album to Howard Stern?
I was in Washington, D.C., working a gig at a place called Garvin's, and I had never heard of Howard Stern. All I did was play rock and roll, and then I started telling jokes. I didn't know anything. And this guy, Harry Montecrusos, that owned Garvin's in Washington, D.C., him and Don Siegel, they said this guy just got fired from DC 101. He's a disc jockey, and he used to do broadcasts in his underwear from our club on Friday mornings, and he's going to New York City. He got fired, and he's going to NBC. You should look him up. So when I got home to New York, I just put 3 albums, me and my girlfriend, Nancy Sirianni, we put all our promo together and sent it to Howard, because we sent it to everybody. We sent it to like 400 different people. And Howard was one of 400 people that got a set of 3 albums and the matching 3 cassettes and all the promo, and he just called up and said, hey, we think you're really funny. You know every joke in the world. Why don't you come in and sit in today? I said, all right. So I went in and sat in, and I worked there for free every day, once a week, every week for 3 years. And then he went to mornings, and I got hired full-time, and we went to the moon. It's kind of interesting.
Definitely. You have it's like a joke line, 516-922-WINE.
516-922-9463. It's so funny. I just got home from being in Cannes at the Cannes Film Festival, and I just called it to make sure it's working, and it's working. You dial it right now, you'll hear 30 jokes, and you hear me promoting my show in Baltimore, which is Sunday night.
Something about the hotline is you give a lot of things away, I've noticed.
I always give. I've been giving stuff away forever. I mean, when I was in a band, we used to make cassettes of our music and hand them out to our fans. And the more I give away, the more successful I get. It just works like that. I've always sent stuff. People call into my radio show, and I send them CDs, and I send them DVDs, and I just like it. I appreciate the fans. I run into people every day that say, wow, 20 years ago you sent me a joke CD, or 20 years ago you sent me an album, or hey, 30 years ago you sent me a T-shirt. People remember that, because it's a nice gesture,
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you about your album.
Are you trying to get free stuff?
You already sent me free stuff.
Yeah, I know. I figured.
You sent me happy endings.
Good. And that's fun, isn't it?
I love that song, Let the Rain Come Down, and the guitar work with Frank Vignola. It's a great album. So tell us.
Thank you, man. A lot of people, they're very surprised. They're like, holy Christ, Jackie, I listen to that CD when I'm driving along in my car, which is like, there's a lot of choices people have. So when people tell me that, that's very flattering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that album a whole lot. So tell us about your musical influences.
I didn't have any real. I loved James Taylor, and I loved the oldies, and I loved the Eagles, but I'm not really good enough that I loved America, just all kinds of stuff. But I loved the Beatles. Just everything kind of meshed in my head. I didn't. I would love to say I was good enough that there were any actual musical influences, but I'm just a guitar player. I just played what I played and played as much as I knew. I just enjoy it. I'm somebody who did a lot with very little. You know what I mean?
You've gotten to meet so many great comics and other people.
That was one of the greatest things about working on the Stern Show is meeting all your heroes.
Yeah, who's been the most thrilling to meet? Whether it be a comic that was an influence or just anybody.
I loved meeting James Taylor. It was great. It was great meeting like Leslie West, and he actually became a friend. And it was great meeting, Joe Walsh, all these guys whose music we used to play in college. It was just too exciting to meet these people. I had met Sam Kinison in my travels, and it was great to meet him again. And it was too many. There's too many to even answer. It was just constant. Before I was on the Stern Show, I met Rodney, and meeting Rodney was like really huge because I hadn't met that many people. You get a little jaded when you're meeting more and more people. It's not that it's not special every time, but but it was great fun. It's all been great. I wish I had a better answer for you, but they're all wonderful.
Yeah, I think that was a good answer.
Well, thank you.
What is in the future of Jackie Martling?
I got a couple things in the works, like a spokesman thing, and I got a couple show possibilities in the work I can't discuss, but I got some fun stuff going on and some more music. But for the most part, I'm doing my shows, and in July, I'm doing Jackie's July Joke Fest on Raw Dog 104 and XM 150, which I really love. That's 2 hours 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday in July, and I just play 2 hours worth of my joke CDs and happy ending CDs and take phone calls and tell jokes, and people tell me jokes. It's just me and the listeners, and I really enjoy that, and plus, we've been doing Jackie's Joke Hunt for over 5 years, and it's getting more and more popular. People just are really digging it, and the listeners are calling in and telling jokes on our theme. Our themes are very dirty, and now the listeners are actually calling in and adhering to the themes, and it just makes it really fun, really fun. I wish I'm not running for office or anything exciting like that,
Well, I have 2 final questions I ask all the guests. First, what is your all-time favorite meal?
My all-time favorite meal is it's a floating thing, but I really love chicken Kiev. Chicken Kiev, on rice with fresh peas. Chicken Kiev is like chicken rolled, that's like butter and cream cheese and chive, rolled in chicken and breaded and deep fried. It's just something from my past that I just really love.
That sounds very, very good.
I'm leaving out the obvious lewd answer.
I can imagine. Yep.
So it's my second favorite.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the last question is open-ended. What would you like to say to all the people listening?
I appreciate everybody that's ever laughed at my jokes, anybody that's ever bought a CD or a DVD. I love the feedback, and please keep coming to my shows and laughing, and keep telling jokes, and that's all. And be nice to each other. That all the religion you need in the whole world is do unto others. Just be nice to each other. That's my message.
Beautiful. Well,
all right, buddy?
Thank you, Jackie. Thanks so much.
All right, now tell people jokeland.com.
All right, jokeland.com.
And I answer every email. If somebody wants to email me, it's Jackie@jokeland.com, JOKELAND.com, Jackie@jokeland.com. Drop a line, say hello.
All right, well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Man, my pleasure. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Me too.
All right, buddy.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.